a little maintenance video on 2017 Ram 2500 oil change. This is pretty simple for the most part. There's some videos on YouTube about how to do it, but a lot of them are broken up with not the right socket sizes and that kind of stuff for the draining of the oil and things like that. So you're gonna come along with me today. We're gonna do a quick oil change. Shouldn't be anything most everybody hasn't seen before, but maybe a few little tips and tricks and certain sizes and oil weights we'll talk about. So today we're going to use Mobil One 0W40 for the Ram 6.4 Hemi. It's going to use 7 quarts of oil, and we picked up a K&N Performance Gold HP 1017 oil filter. So the reason I went with the K&N is, one, they had it at the store. 2, it's got the wrench off special adapter on it, and sometimes oil filters stick. You're only supposed to tighten them up just like half a turn or something, keep them from leaking, and sometimes they get on there tight and they're a pain to get off. So I usually use that one just to make it a little easier on myself. So let's pull the truck in the garage and let's get after it. Alright guys, here's what we're going to do first. Gonna open it up, we let it warm up for just a minute. I did that before the video started. And open up the hood, just look around, make sure there's no leaks before we start. And then we'll get the drain pan underneath the truck and we'll go from there. Alright guys, let's do tip number 1 for an oil change. Right here we've got our 16 quart container that we're going to use. Tip number 1, if anybody's ever changed oil before, always, before you put it underneath the vehicle, get that out of the way and open your vent. If the vent's not open and you start putting oil in here, it's going to fill this up faster with the vent closed and it may overtop. So always open the vent before you start. Just a little tip, all right? All right, guys, tip number 2. Don't forget to put your gloves on. I picked these up at Home Depot while I was there. I usually go to Harbor Freight and pick theirs up. They're a lot cheaper. You get a lot more for the same price, but I was there. These are the thicker version. Don't go for the cheapest ones that you can get because you'll be halfway through your project and your gloves are gonna rip, and then you're gonna have a half-torn glove, oil on your hand, and it's gonna be a mess. So spend a few dollars more, get the thicker ones, and you'll thank me for this because there's nothing worse than getting a half-full glove of oil. All right, guys, let's slide up underneath the truck and let's get after it. All right, so if you've never been up underneath your truck before, it's kind of what it's looking like, right? And there's the front axles here. Just right behind the front axle is the oil pan for the truck. That bolt right there is the one we're going to be taking out. It is a 1/2 inch. I'm going to use an open-ended socket or open-ended wrench instead of a socket on this one, just to do something different. It's easy. It's what I had. So let's get this done. All right, guys. Tip number 2. Always have a ton of paper towels laying around for this job. It can get messy quick, and the faster you clean it up, the less spreading it will do, obviously, with oil. So when we take this bolt out, the oil will not fall straight down. It's going to have some velocity behind it, so it's going to want to come out like this. So just scooch it a little further away from the bolt so you can make sure you get it in there. Hopefully this isn't too tight. There we go. All right, so always break it loose like that, and then I will unscrew it, but I'll also put pressure against the oil pan, and once you get it completely loose, you can feel it kind of jumping around in the hole a little bit. So then what I do is I'll take it and pull it quickly to the side, and I got a little bit on my glove right there, but take it, wipe it off, wipe your bolt off. And another tip is to inspect this little gasket here. If it's torn or is looking in rough shape, you need to purchase a new drain plug with the new seal on it, because a lot of manufacturers nowadays will not sell just the seal. You'll have to buy the whole thing. So just keep an eye on that. But now we're just gonna let it run and we'll move on to the next part. Hey guys, another tip is when you're draining your oil, come up to the engine and go ahead and open the fill, and that will give a little more air through the crankcase area, and hopefully we'll get the oil to drain a little quicker and try to get all of it out. All right, we've been letting it drain for quite a while now and still slowly coming out, but for somebody like me, it's good enough. We're gonna pop this guy back in, but go from the side or the top and just be gentle. Get it in there. See how it's already sealed up? Get it in there, make sure you don't cross thread it. And I get it almost to where it's touching the face of the oil pan again, and I'll get up in there and try to wipe all around it. And I'll finish tightening it up. All right, and now here, you don't want to tighten this thing down so tight that you could screw up pulling the threads out of the oil pan. So you can tell it's already not leaking. So all you want to do is tighten it down so this doesn't back out and just gets that seal just pressed up against the oil pan. So all you do is take it, and I just grab it and just kind of give it a good torque. Nothing crazy. I'm not trying to keep it from falling off. So obviously just give it a good wipe, and then we'll move on to the oil filter. You know, we're about halfway done at this point. All right, guys, we're getting ready to change the oil filter. As we're underneath the truck. Once again, we're on the front side of the vehicle. There's the axle, and up underneath the engine, here is the fan shroud. It's right there. So Ram gives you this little area up here to get to the oil filter. This one is not a K&N. Last time I did it, they did not have a K&N with that little nut on the back. So we've got this little oil filter wrench. I've got this Craftsman adjustable angle ratchet. So let's see if we can get this with no extensions. So this just slides on the back like this. You push on it, and then let's see if we can get this broken loose. This might not be the right size, guys. Well, let's try this again. You know, I don't know. Let's see what we can do here. I wonder. Let's see if we can just grab it and twist it. There we go. Like I said before, they don't have to be super tight. It's just, you gotta make sure that it's on enough to seal. And we'll look at the new oil filter and its seals and everything before we put it on. But there's a little tray right here. On the back side of this tray, you can't really see it, it's hard to video. There's a drain hole. So it's gonna come through here, and any other stuff may fall forward. So what we're gonna do is kind of split the difference. We're gonna unscrew this. It's gonna have oil in it, and it's gonna make a little bit of a mess, but here we go. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. You see how it's coming out already below it? So Ram does a pretty good job with creating some areas for it to drain and not make a huge mess. So what we're gonna do is try to pick it up, because like I said, it still has oil in it. And we're gonna flip it over in the drain pan and let it drain for a little bit and get it out. And like I said before, paper towels are key. All right, guys, as we are waiting on the oil to drain from the oil filter housing, I guess, let's take a look at this. This is the K&N. This actually comes with a window decal, sort of like you'd get at your oil change place. But here it is, right here. K&N HP 1017. There's that nut I was talking about. You saw the other one is kind of a pain with that other oil filter wrench. Luckily, it wasn't too tight. We could just grab a hold of it and unscrew it. But one of the big things you need to do, in my opinion, is put some oil on this ring. I don't fill it up. You know, modern engines are pretty good with their oil pumps and everything. We're not making a lot of high horsepower or anything. So I'd rather put just a little bit in there and not make a huge mess and fill this, wet this ring. So when you screw it on there, this doesn't want to pull out of there. It creates just a nice smooth seal and there's no problem. So usually what I do is I'll take some oil and I'll pour it just inside of here. And this helps prime it a little bit also. I'm not gonna fill mine up because I don't wanna make a huge mess like I said. But then I'll take my fingertip, run it around the edge of it. I'm trying to do this on camera so you guys can see. Just cover the whole thing like this, all right? And once again, extra paper towels, just wipe your finger off while that other is draining and just let it sit there and we'll get this thing put in just a minute. All right guys, we got the oil filter just about drained. So what we're gonna do is slide up underneath the truck, grab that filter, we'll put it up on here and we are going to thread it on there. Be very careful not to cross thread this because nobody wants to pay for that, right? So we're gonna hand tighten this up, get it on there. Then with these rams, like I said, this little drain area up here is probably got some residual oil on it. So I don't really want oil in my driveway. So we're gonna wipe that down really good. It's just a plastic tray, so you can wipe it down really good. And then what we'll do is we'll take this, wipe the oil filter housing also. Make sure it doesn't have any leaks on it yet. So then we are going to grab it like we did before. We're just going to turn it, get it nice and tight like that. You know, oil filters do not have to be super tight by any means, but these gloves are a little oily and I can't get a good hand on it, so I'm going to grab it barehanded. Make sure that it's tight since it's nice and new and clean. And it's tight, so what we're going to do is we're going to hop up to the top. We're going to leave our drain pan underneath here just in case we have a little leak. And then we will go ahead and put some oil in it and fire it up and see what happens, all right? All right, guys, another tip and trick. I usually buy the 5-quart handles. They're cheaper. They less trash you got to deal with. It just seems a little easier to deal with. But a little tip on here is on the side, it's divided. So this one's liters, this one's quarts. Since we're in the United States, we're gonna go with quarts because that's what we all use and talk about. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. It's not perfect, but it gives you a sense of what's inside the bottle. Like if you look at this one that I had before, I've already used some of it. So we're at 1, 2, 3 quarts in there. So it looks like I've used about 2 quarts out of this one. So let's get filling and see what happens. All right, guys, we are going to start filling this thing up. We have our funnel. Unfortunately, I found the smallest funnel I had to make this more entertaining for people to watch and comment on. We're gonna put 7 quarts in this thing. So we'll start with this 5, and then we'll add some more, and then we'll fire it up, and we will see how much we need to add.
So, this is gonna be a slow process. I don't know why I lost my bigger funnel, but it shouldn't be too bad, actually. So, a lot of people don't even use funnels. I've got a couple buddies that can hit it without spilling a drop. I don't understand that. Some kind of voodoo, I guess. But we'll get this filled up. It's almost mesmerizing to watch, right?
All right. 5 quarts down. We need to add 2 more, so we'll get that other jug and we'll put it in there and fire it up. Like I said, this was a bottle that I had left over from a previous oil change probably. So it has about 3 quarts in it. So we're gonna add about 2 quarts and we'll fire it up and we will see how much we have in there. You never wanna have too much oil. So there's a thought that you'd rather be just a hair low than a hair over, in my opinion. I could be 100% wrong. But in my opinion, everything I've ever read or dealt with, more oil is worse than just a hair under. I'm talking, not paying attention, spilling more oil. This is where all the paper towels come into play, guys. So, I've got about another half quart to go. Let's see what that is. Semi-level here. Let's see what happens here. All right, that should get us really, really close. So grab some paper towels. Wipe this up before it drips down on the exhaust and makes a smoky mess. Everybody likes smoky burnouts. Nobody likes a smoky engine, right? So, I'm gonna put this back on. Move on to the next step. All right, guys, let's go in and we're gonna do 2 things inside here. 1, excuse the dirty truck. 2, we're gonna look at how to reset our oil change reminder light. Let's close the door. Of course, somebody has to be mowing their grass while we're trying to do this, right? So if we turn our truck on now, it is going to throw up that I need an oil change. And I need gas. But anybody that has one of these, see, there you go. Oil change required. So, what we're gonna do, let's open the door and get this thing to shut off. You turn the key to the run position, which is 2 clicks, push the pedal down 3 times, and hope we don't have the oil change indicator. So 1, 2, let's see if that oil change goes away. All right, so it looks like we have no indication. It looks like I need some air in my tires, but this time of the year it's always going off. All right, let's fire it up. We're building oil pressure. Well, it's a good thing we have some oil. Let's go take a look and see if we have any leaks. No smoke. It does not look like we have any leaks. So far, success. Alright guys, it seems like it was a successful oil change. So, recap, you'll need a 1/2-inch socket or wrench for the bolt to drain the oil out of the oil pan. I used a K&N filter. On the back of that is a 1-inch nut if you need to get a little more torque on it to get it to seat. 7 quarts of 0W40. I used Mobil One, which I know if I hear it in the comments, this is not Chrysler approved. It is not whatever their number is. I can't remember what it is. The whatever. But Mobil One for years was approved by Chrysler, Ram, Mopar, Fiat, whoever it is at this point. Their contract ran out and I think they switched to Pennzoil. This stuff is awesome. I've ran it in all my Rams. I've owned 3 or 4 of them at this point, and it doesn't ever let me down. So, I mean, come on. It's high quality oil. It's not like you're using Amazon oil or anything like that. So just remember, 7 quarts of this, whatever your flavor is, 0W40, a filter, and a 1/2-inch wrench for the drain plug, and you're good to go. Gloves, paper towels, lots of paper towels. And don't forget, recycle your oil. Don't pour it in the trash. Don't pour it in your grass or anything like that. The environment's important to us. We all love, living this best life we can. So Always recycle it. All oil change places will probably take it. Advanced Auto Parts I know takes it. So there's plenty of opportunities to get rid of it legally. So please do that. And if you like this video, like, subscribe. We got lots of good stuff coming up. So I appreciate all you guys for letting me do this. And if you have any questions or comments, I'm always looking through them. So post it on there and I'll try to get back with you guys. See you next time.